Welcome back to another Up to Summit video. Today we are in the Lake District again. As you can see, we've got pretty nice weather. It is a bit chilly. You can tell it's definitely starting to get into autumn now because the breeze today is pretty cold. Today we're just doing the one way and right. It's going to be up to Grisedale Pike, which is probably somewhere behind. I'm not exactly sure where. What a lovely starting point this is though. This is just on Whinlatter Pass in one of the car parks at the forest. And it almost looks something like you'd see out of Canada with all these big pine trees. I don't know if they are pine trees, but them trees, whatever they are, reminds me of something you'd see in Canada. A little stream running through this area, which has obviously suffered from some deforestation because literally all them trees have just been chopped down, which ain't great. But at least it means we have a decent view looking up to where we're going, up to Grisedale Pike, so you can see our route. Probably just up there, around there and back down somehow. It's one of those walks though where it's a relatively high mountain. I think it's just under 800 meters, but you're already starting at like over 1,000 feet, maybe over 1,500 feet. So it's actually not that much ascent in total, but we still get overall to quite high, and it should be pretty good views from the top. There you go, nice and signposted. Grisedale Pike, which is just going to be left through here. Then I think we'll have a bit of climbing. There you go, some pretty interesting mushrooms here. Got that one, which is quite big. That's the size of my hand next to it. And then you've got these, which I'm not sure what they're called, but pretty nice. I just ran up that first little bit because obviously I left my camera down in the gates and I was way behind and definitely tired me out because it's pretty steep going up here, but look at the views behind there, pretty cracking out there. Looking down this hill over to Skiddaw in the background, beautiful. But this is the hill. Not sure if the camera is really doing any justice to how steep it is, but definitely a fair pull. It's days like today though that are kind of like ideal conditions for walking. It might be like 15 degrees and on the top it might only be, you know, 10 degrees, maybe less. But when you're walking uphill, you get warm so quickly, but you've still got the sun out and it's not too warm. Tell you what, coming up here, leaning over a little bit, done my back in a bit because I'm away with my family at the moment, and I was playing my little brother a bit too enthusiastically at table football, really swinging into the shots, and I still lost, admittedly, but it's definitely done my lower back. Luckily though, the benefit of coming with your family, I'd have to carry a rucksack. My dad and my older brother are carting all the stuff. Not a bad view looking out around here though, is it? Amazing. Still going uphill. Literally had a little bit of forest track, which was nice, steady, gentle walk through the woods, and then straight into this. Literally just straight up, no stops really. I'd like to think that might be the top there, but it's definitely not. Definitely false summit. Even still, at least every time you stop you've got a beautiful view. So we've come up quite a few more little hills which look like the summit, but then they're not. And now I've got this one which is slightly larger than the previous ones, and I could almost certainly say this is probably not up to the summit either. What lovely views it is here. You can see good portion at Lake District from here. Some people going up the other side there, over to Keswick just down there, and I believe that you probably can't even see it because it's a bit murky in person, but might be the sea over there. So there's a possibility that on our route back down we might be going down that hill there, which looks rather steep, and it might be easier just to get a sledge down it than it would to walk down it. I'll tell you one of the worst things, when you're going up a hill, getting a bit tired and it's quite slippy underfoot, and you take a step and your foot just slides back nearly a full step, and it's like you've used that energy and you've got no gain from it. So you're coming up this hill and you're like, oh yeah, we're nearly there. Next joke, all that to go. That up there actually could be the summit though. Very steep hill going off the front of there. Probably the express route down, slide straight down that, but wouldn't be very safe. So not only has my dad's fitness got away from him a bit, his navigation skills seem to have slipped away too. We've managed to come up the wrong ridge. We're supposed to possibly come up the one over there. So I know I said we were going to drop down there somewhere, but we might change that. We'll see when we get up to the top. We might end up going down the one we were supposed to come up somewhere over here. Pretty good views looking back down now though. We've come up a fair way. Might come back down here for our lunch stop. Maybe have a little wild swim in there. No, I'm only joking. Just going at this little screey bit because it looks a wee bit more interesting than just the normal path. We should nearly be at the top, but it's still a little bit further. Good views now looking out over in that direction. Now we can see over the top of this mountain. Good views looking out from here. I did them too probably a couple of months back, 2-3 months back on my channel, so check them out if you haven't already. You can do this a full horseshoe up from this one round to them, then finish off with them two over there, but that's a fair walk. I guess that's the top. It's quite a good route round onto Hope Hill Head, but we're not going to do that today. There we go, here's our stop for the lunch, ham sandwich. Sun's trying to come out. Pretty nice views looking out, not too bad at all. So that was a nice lunch stop. Luckily we managed to get out of this wind because it is pretty wild. But we're going to be heading down this way, bending off down this way. Definitely pretty windy coming down here. We're probably going to have it all the way down this ridge. Made it back down to this little pond. Definitely not going to get in there. 1, because it's not very deep. 2, because it's very dark. 3, my hands are absolutely freezing from this wind. Tell you what, I'm not a fan of these sort of paths, especially when I don't have my sticks on me. They're just dangerous, so slippy, so easy just to stand on a rock and it slides and you nearly fall over. Wow, it's cold on my hand. You can definitely tell autumn's here again. This would be a very nice, pleasant stroll along this little ridge, but for the most part we're just getting absolutely battered by the wind, which is making it very chilly. But nice views looking either way. Just a shame about the wind. See how far we've come down there, and it's probably only been about 15 minutes. Really come down there at some pace, but just trying to get out of the wind really, get to somewhere where it's a bit warmer. You might be able to hear that like my nose is like so blocked up, like it's just been in the wind. It will unblock when I get further down, so the quicker I can, the better. So our outward route went all the way up there. Little technical issue, stood on the stile and my GoPro fell off. Good job it's a GoPro, not a really fancy camera. This is quite a nice descent. This should have been our ascent, but obviously we slipped up a little bit on the navigation, or my dad did. I hadn't touched the navigation today, so I won't be taking any responsibility. But even still, it's a nice path to come down. Just this shingly stuff, which is why I'm going down this path, which I know is not great, eroding away this, but going down that shingly stuff and hurting myself is worse than eroding this path or this little bit of heather. Yeah, so now we've dropped down and the wind's died down, we're sheltered. It is just toasty. I almost want to get my fleece off now, but it just shows you how much of a difference, I'm nearly falling over, how much of a difference it makes when you're up on the top in the wind. So I always need to make sure to pack more layers than you think you're gonna need. Good view looking down there. You got Whinlatter Pass in the valley floor. Good little scree over the other side. Right, so we're not too far off the car park. We're probably like somewhere near the level of that track down there, but we have got some forest to negotiate. Hopefully we can find the right paths this time in the forest so we can make it back to the car. We need to get back in a reasonable time and not get lost for too long, because the car park is 55p per 15 minutes, which is pretty extortionate. And I've never really seen a car park charge like that, charging per 15 minutes. That's kind of crazy. So this is where it can get tricky. We're now in the forest. I think we're going to go this way. This looks like more of a path. But this is where it gets so easy to get lost, because there's just so many different paths and not really anything to look at, because it's just trees, trees and more trees. So it can be very difficult to find your way through forest sometimes. This looks a little bit muddy here. It's going to take a bit of a leap of faith. There we go. Easy enough. See, I like it like this, where you've got some trees, but they're not so big that you can't see out. you've got the views and you're in these little cute Christmas trees. That's where we've come down from. But yeah, really nice, relaxing walking through here. Sun's kind of out. Very pleasant. It's a little bit wet and slippy coming through this forest, but still quite pleasant. Got the faint noise of some birds in here. At least we've managed to find a nice wide forest track. That's always a good sign, because it can be so easy to get lost when you just have them really tight little paths like this wide. Like a forest track, if as long as you follow that, you'll get back to the road somehow, and then you'll know where you are. I've just recognised where we are. This is near where we started. I remember seeing this turning coming up here, so once we got in here we just turn left and we're back to the car park. Nice and easy, no dramas. Right, so we're back onto the outward route now. It's like 2 minutes back to the car. Got the mountain behind us, Grisedale Pike. Pretty decent walk. It's clouded over a bit now, but we have had some nice weather and also some pretty bloody cold weather when we were in that wind. But if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and drop a sub. If you want to watch another one of my videos, click the screen now.